right. Okay. So we're here once again, Bob and Nina. How are you guys doing today? Yeah. So for those of us watching from YouTube, right? Please do me a favor. Drop a message in the chat. I just want to be sure you guys can hear me clearly. Okay. And we're also expecting others to join in very soon, right? We're expecting those folks from the Top Universe and Tech's Garage community, right? So do well to share the link with your friends. We're going to be discussing an amazing project from the Tech's Garage open source team. Okay, so Bob, can you hear me clearly? Hi, Bob.
Oh yeah, good to hear you, Mav. Good evening, Mav. Good evening, Nina.
All right. Hi, Nina. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Good evening, Mr. Marv. Hello, Bob.
Uh,
Good evening.
all right. Okay, so Bob, over to you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Once again, good evening, Mav and Nina. And I hope we're all having a happy Sunday. Okay, so today we are going to be walking through the MVP of one of our projects on the open source community. And for those of us who don't really know what the open source community at Techies Garage is all about, let me just give a brief overview. So it's the Techies Garage open source internship community. What we really do there is we look at you know uh, the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, and we look at problems that are in our immediate environment, and we try to create projects around that, digital based projects, obviously, and we solve them in an open source fashion, meaning we have like a community of designers, developers, engineers who come together, put their brilliant minds together and their skill sets together and make these solutions available. And it's open source means when we do this stuff, we expect it to be available to the public. It is developed by us, it is designed by us, it is maintained and managed by us. It's also a platform where we hope to grow on our skills, learn new things, collaborate, and generally network in a very meaningful way while impacting on the society. We hope to have more people and more hands join us soon. And unveiling here is one of our projects, and with us obviously is Nina, who is on the Ameyo team, which is currently working on a health application, a health solution for the health industry. Uh, I would I would move over to her, or I'd want her to give us a better breakdown on things from my head. Nina, can you come up?
Oh, sure. Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Trust you're having a wonderful Sunday already. Yeah. So the Ameyo project is, like Bob said, it's a health-based project. So I'm going to quickly run through, our MVP here. So the platform actually is a user-based platform where users get to have control and access to their health medical records, and in the process also includes the data safely being collected and documented. You know, when they visit the hospitals, this data is collected, recorded to enable medical practitioners and institutions to retrieve and have access to these documents from any location, anywhere within the country, and of course with appropriate permissions. So in a bit, I'm going to be sharing, my screen, but before then, yeah, yeah, just give me a minute. Let me pull up my screen so I can share. I can walk us through, the MVP properly. Okay. Yeah. Give me a sec. Okay. Okay. While I'm still trying to do that, I'll also let me just keep talking. So this MVP, the Ameyo project, like Bob said, I'm going to be running through the basic things that we are going to start off with, because like like we all know it's an open source. We are going to be building on what's, you know, there are going to be stages. We build something, it's going to be improved upon with time and things like that. Well, basically, the first thing we are going to be working on the MVP is what I'm going to be running us through. Okay, so one, the users
Yeah.
should be able to and have their
Yeah.
profile created on the
Sorry.
project.
Maybe you should share your screen first. Nina.
Should
Yeah,
okay.
we're waiting for you. Okay. Yeah. So let's wait
Okay.
for you to share your screen.
Yeah, while she's on it, generally, Mav, uh,
Yeah.
the concept of this idea, let's just make people have a better feel of it while she prepares to walk us through the MVP of it. So, the standard way people experience the hospitals is they go there, they get a file open for them, and subsequently every of their dealings that is regarded to their health is documented there. But there are two things that we noticed as a team noticed as a problem there. First off, the data is usually in the hands of the institute. So be it a hospital, be it a pharmacy, or whatsoever. Once a file is open or a record is open for you, it is solely in the hand of whatever institute that is opening that record for you. And a second thing we noticed is, moving such information from one hospital to another is usually a bit of a process, which is, I think, per our discussions or per our research, we found is a generic problem within the health industries. So just based on what we discussed, maybe give people a feel of what we had as an idea so that they know what they would expect when seeing this MVP.
Oh, okay, okay. So, I mean, just from what you've described right now, I think most people are very, very familiar with that process, right? So you walk into a hospital, for example, you are given a card. I believe that's something that we see everywhere, Bob. I mean, you walk into a hospital. Let's say you walk into a hospital in Lagos, you're given a card, right? You walk into a hospital in Ogun State, you're given a different card. Even if it's the same hospital with different branches. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just giving, based on my experience and, of course, a little bit of assumption. Am I correct on that, Bob?
Yeah, in most cases.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the thing is, most of these medical records, will be documented manually, right? I mean, that's for sure. But there's no proper way to track the medical record of a patient, across multiple facilities. Okay. So you have a facility in Lagos and one in Ogun State. Even if it's the same, medical facility with different branch, sometimes it's very difficult to track that record appropriately. Now, when it becomes two, different, two entirely different medical facility, it's a problem, right? You cannot move with your record. Okay. Yeah, because most of these things are stored in your file in that particular facility. Yeah. So what we're simply trying to look at from this MVP, of course, Nina would speak more to the detail. Is we're trying to come up with that idea where someone can move around with their medical record, from one medical facility to the other, but at the same time, ensure that access and privilege is put into the user's end. So the user has that permission to say, okay, I want to grant access to a particular medical facility, right? Or I want to revoke that access if I no longer want them to have that medical record, or if I don't want them to access my medical history, right? Which I think it makes absolute sense that way, to say if you are the patient in hospital A, right, you should be able to grant or revoke access whenever you want to. Okay, so I mean, from a very high level, that's what we are looking at. Okay, from a very high level, but I'm sure by the time Nina starts, diving into the detail, we should be able to, of course, ask a lot of questions, right, and get to get to come up with something amazing at the end of the day. That's it.
Okay, so
Oh,
Mr. Marv,
that.
can you see my screen? I tried sharing. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah, you can see.
Can you still see the screen?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
we
it's
can see the
visible now.
PDF. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, all right. So I should go on. Are you done?
Yeah, Bob, do you have any other question, Bob, before Nina would, walk us through this simple architecture we're looking at here?
Oh yeah, she could just go ahead. Maybe questions could come in as we proceed.
Okay, nice.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nina. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Marv. Okay, so like Bob and Mr. Marv have tried to explain, this this solution is going to help individuals, patients have, the right to share their data, their medical records from anywhere and at any time. So, like the MVP, I have before us, the diagram I have before us tries to capture the process. A patient walks into a hospital, and there's a breakdown of this is a breakdown of how the patient gets to give me a sec. The patient runs from the start of the process to the end. Okay. My screen is not quite large, so I'm struggling. Okay. So, like, this is John Ruth goes to hospital one in Lagos, and on board, the hospital in Lagos, the first hospital in Lagos gets John Ruth's information. As John Ruth is going in, she knows or he knows that they're going to need to open up what's it called now? A database for her. Or I guess John Root. John Root should be a lady, so the
Actually, the John. Let's work with let's work with the John. So the John should be a guy.
okay, so there's a profile that is created, set up by the front desk, and also yeah, we're also looking at a stage where we can get to where John can actually register, create a profile before he even gets to the hospital, so that it makes the process at the hospital a lot easier. It may just be updating his profile. But yeah, that by the side, there's a profile that's created. So John goes to hospital one and sees a doctor. Oh, he had malaria, he had typhoid, and in the process of moving from nurse station to the family doctor, or from the nurse's station to the gynecologist's office, all the process is documented and uploaded into his database. And once he's done, okay, because if he gets to this hospital, he automatically grants access. He has to grant access to the hospital one, okay, in Lagos, to enable them either put up any of the data, or have access to previous, whatever it is. Okay, let's assume this is the first time, so there's no data. So the hospital uploads every information that transpires, or all the information that they gather as a process of John coming to the hospital, and is saved. Now, let's say that John has an official assignment in Ogun State, and he goes to Ogun, and suddenly he develops an ailment, or he breaks down and he's rushed to the hospital. And this hospital, all they need to ask from him is his hospital ID that is attached to the Ameyo platform, and they have access to his platform, so he can grant them. He's also supposed to give them access to his data, and they can work with whatever it is that is there, depending on what they are looking for. So he gets to this medical facility, and they work with him, or they put him through medications, treat him, and also update it. This would enable, I think it makes it easy for John, if he needs his data to be shared with any hospital for any reason, for any purpose that has to do with medicals and all that. Is easy for him to say, okay, this hospital or this organization, this is my data, this is the access I can grant you based on what you are asking from. So this is just a quick run through of what I have before me, but I don't know if you want me to, break down this thing further, Mr. Marv.
Yeah, I think I think we can actually speak to this first before we even I mean this is still high level, which makes sense. So Bob, maybe we
Yeah,
can speak to this.
let's just pull out some important facts that we've gotten from this high level description here, or this
Yeah.
high level architecture here. So first off, from this user's experience, there are a couple of things that we've gotten. First off, from the description she has given, um, the user, or the user of the Ameya platform, talking about John Root, or just John in this case, he has the major control over who has access to his record. So let's expatiate on what that means to this platform. It's sort of like requesting his consent. So Marv, give us a little bit of insight of what a consent based system such as this one is supposed to mean to whoever you know uh, is using such a platform.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So when you say consent, management, I would use that term here, right? When it comes to such platforms, if someone is trying to get access to your data, now remember it's a centralized platform, okay? So in most cases, we're looking at a centralized platform, just like this one. So you have a centralized platform, and each person has a record, right, in this system. I would allow you to speak to the numbers of users later, but in the sense of speaking to the patient, right, which is one of the user, right, speaking to the patient, what happens is when I visit a particular medical facility and I have been onboarded, maybe in that facility, or maybe I onboarded myself at home or something, maybe via the mobile app or via the website. When I visit that facility, when they search for my record, right, they should not, by default, they will not have the ability to just click and see my medical history, right? So the concept here is, that medical facility asking me, to say, okay, please, we would need to access some of your, previous records if you are on this platform. Okay. If that user is not on the platform, then there's obviously no, record. Except maybe when they finish onboarding, that particular facility can then upload their existing records. Do you understand? So, but yeah, the idea is you request for that permission. You ask the user, please, we need to access your records, and then the user would simply, allow that facility, right, or that medical practitioner. So you just kind of like say, okay, give this particular person or give this particular facility access, to see my records. Do you understand? So you grant that permission. Now they can request, you can approve, right? That's just the workflow. They can request, you can approve, or they can just, inform you, and then you can grant them the access. Okay.
Okay, that's nice. So also there's a second thing that is noticed. There's a second fact that I would also want us to make much more clear from this high level model. Now I it's noticed that what seems to happen is it is hospital, or in this case I would use the term institutes, that request this access, not direct practitioners. What exactly does that mean? Does it mean that in order for John's record to be updated or edited or created, it has to come under a specific institute? What generally does that speak about the platform? Why is it that approach that is being taken?
Okay, okay. So to speak to that, I think the major thing here is that an individual practitioner will be able to request as well, but that practitioner has to be under a particular facility. Do you understand? Now, because during the process of onboarding, practitioners, you onboard practitioners into facilities. Do you understand? You have to verify, those facilities to make sure that okay, these people actually have the capacity to run, a medical center, right? Using an hospital, for example, when they onboard, it's not just a random onboarding. When they onboard, you have to verify, that center. You have to verify that, these guys are registered or they are licensed and they can operate this. And of course, when you also register or when you also onboard a practitioner and you have assigned them to a facility, now there's a level of verification first that, okay, this particular practitioner belongs to this facility, right? So, which means, if anything should go wrong, we can actually hold this facility, responsible. But even before you approve that, practitioner's account, you also have to validate that they have, the license, to basically, manage or to basically run as a medical practitioner within a facility. You understand? So it's not like a practitioner cannot request. Yes, they can request, but they can only request when they are registered and assigned to a facility. That's the point.
All right, that makes sense. It sort of creates an accountability control in my own opinion. I mean,
Yeah,
is that the right word to use?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. What else? It also is also much. Is also what's noteworthy. English these days. It's also noteworthy to say. From the look of this high level model here, they all have access to like a centralized system. Uh, so what does that mean for the platform in general? It means we are managing a centralized record based system as well. Aside that, it's content based. Do you want to give an insight on that aspect of things?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, speaking to centralized here, of course, is not specifically talking about the architecture, right? It's talking about the way things are being managed. Okay. So,
Yeah.
centralized means that whether you are running a mayor on a system in hospital A or hospital B, whether the hospital is in Lagos, maybe hospital A is in Lagos, hospital B is in Abuja. They are both accessing the same system, right? They are accessing the same system, but then they can only see, the things they have permissions to see, right? In terms of the medical history. So it makes sense because we're now creating, a level of connection, right? Across, multiple hospitals. Now, I mean, imagine transferring a medical record right now from a hospital in Lagos to a hospital in Abuja. I mean, that is definitely. I don't know, but that's not. I would say that would be very difficult, right? That would be difficult. I mean, the process, right? Instead, you can just, on this platform, the user can just, tap a single button to approve, the request from a facility in Abuja, and immediately they have those records. This would happen in a matter of seconds, right? So, yeah, I mean, since the system is centralized, it gives them that ability to, to function that way. Um, if it were not if you were not using this pattern of having a centralized system, so let's say hospital B has their own software, hospital A has their own software, then there have to be some sort of API, connections, one hospital trying to pull data from the other API. I think that's unnecessary complexity, right? In terms of the architecture, in terms of the implementation, yes, the platform would be implemented in such a way that it can scale. The performance, of course, that is very important. But the idea of the idea of having a centralized system is simply to say you're connecting to one system and you don't have to source, data from multiple APIs or multiple systems before you can, get the information you're looking for about a customer, about a user. You see, I just threw in customer there because I was working on a commerce platform before we joined this call. Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Oh yeah, that's nice. This already is interesting in my own opinion. Already we have a question from Okolo Chinemirim. She says, "How is the patient supposed to grant the doctor access?" I mean, we'll get into that detail in a bit. Nina, are you still with us?
Oh, sure, I am here.
Oh, okay, that's nice. So maybe we should take a look at the MVP document and let's see how the key notes we are supposed to be focusing on for
Okay,
Yeah,
can I share
for our
that document?
MVP.
yeah.
Do have to share. Let's see it.
Okay, let me stop sharing this and share screen. Screen.
Yeah, Bob, can you
Okay.
hear that sound? Is it coming from Nina's end?
Oh, I can't hear it.
Oh, okay, okay. Maybe it's from my end. Go ahead and share your screen. I think we can see it now. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So let's just Nina, just walk us through the high points of the document, and let's.
Okay, sure. So the Ameyo project have we have three users: the patient, the user, and the medical professionals.
Nina, you there?
Okay, so I think she's probably having a network issue, I believe. Nina, we can't hear you if you're speaking. Oh, okay. So I don't think we can hear Nina, Bob.
Okay.
Yeah, so but I think she was actually trying to make reference to she was about to make reference to the user base. Let's put it that way, right? The categories
Yeah,
of users.
users.
Um, yeah, so we can speak to that before she comes back to the call. So first, I believe we have the regular users, that's the patients, right? And then we have the platform administrators, right? Those managing the platform itself, the Ameyo platform. Then we have the
Yeah,
medical practitioners, and we also have the medical facilities, right? So
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So I think those are the major categories. So the way it works is an admin from a medical facility would have to create they have to sort of create their facility within the platform, and then they can assign or they can basically create profile for their medical practitioners, right? So they can do that. The medical practitioners can also create an account and then assign have the admins in those facilities assign them right to the facility. So basically the admin would just put in their email, right? They get that email and then they click on the button to just approve, to say, okay, I am joining facility A or facility B, right? So the facilities and the practitioners, they are kind of working hand in hand, right? um, yeah, and then they can only access the record of the users or the patients that have granted them the permission, right? And even if they create a new profile, then yes, by default they can at least add records to that new profile. But then the user can go back and say, okay, I want to revoke this permission, from these guys. So they should not be. If I as a user, if I go to a different medical center, that hospital where I onboarded should not be able to get the records that was actually logged in a different center, right? Except I give them the permission to see those records. So you see, those are the categories.
Yeah, it makes things. It gives us a very clear perspective on how the content based, should I call it the content based architecture that we're trying to implement into the system would work.
Concepts,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Nina seems to be back. Nina, welcome. Can you hear us now?
That's real welcome. I'm so sorry. My network was doing overtime.
Oh,
Welcome back.
Thank
Yeah.
all
you.
right.
So sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. So I should continue, right?
Yeah,
Sure,
sure do.
sure. Continue.
Okay. So the Ameyo project has three three customers or three users that we are focused on: the patients, the medical institutions, and the medical professionals. Then yeah.
Yeah, so I think that is from the platform angle for the people signing up. But then I think you should also maybe you should take off customer, right? And let's just call them like user base. Then we'll have the platform admin, right? So the platform admin are those operating things from the back, sort of like the back. Should I call it the back office here? Yeah, you can include
Uh,
platform
let's
admin.
Platform admin just works, but yeah, that is that. Platform admin will work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nina.
Okay, so yeah, I ran through the value proposition before. A platform where users, patients have control over who can access their medical health records after the data has been safely collated, documented, and recorded to enable medical practitioners or institutions retrieve them from any location with appropriate permissions. Then the channels we are looking at, yeah, these are a breakdown, like a breakdown of the various, outputs, that if I will use that word. So users will be able to register and have their profiles created. You they should be able to register. They should be able to update their profiles at any time, and they should be able to give, permissions to institutions as well as practitioners. I'm going to get more to that later. Then data privacy, we are going to ensure, because I know that a lot of content that people have is, oh, this is tech, how are we going to guarantee, or how are we going to safeguard data? Okay, so it's going to be safely, stored. Our engineers are going to be doing a good one there. So, data privacy is going to be key. In every throughout the process from start to finish, data privacy is going to be implemented and enforced on this project. So we're able to give patients the ability to control who has access to their data. For instance, I go to hospital A and I grant them access. I can place a time limit on the number of hours or number of days they can have access to my data for. Or, if that is not the case, if I keep it open, I can choose to, is it revoke? What's the word here now? Revoke the access after I'm done with the health, that health institution, or with the health practitioner, as the case may be. So we'll be able to allow patients delete their data. If any patient does not want to be on their Ameyo platform anymore, they can choose to stop being with us on the platform. They'll be able to allow patients easy access to health records and download it. We find, I think Mr. Marv mentioned it, we go to hospitals and they request for your medical history or your file, and we find out that before you process it in one hospital to start going to another, they start asking you to pay money and all that. But at the click of a button, you're able to do this. You can even download your results, your test results, and all that. I want to run. Then medical practitioners should be able to enter users' data on their platform and accurately too. So health professionals or medical practitioners can register on this platform as well. So as everybody is a potential patient and user. As per, everybody can get sick at some point. So health professionals will register first as individuals. Then for them to attend to patients at some point, that medical practitioner must be onboarded under, or into, is it under or into an institution actually. So for them to practice, they have to practice under an institution, which those ones are going to have their own process of onboarding and registration on the platform. So it's not everybody that just comes, oh, I'm a medical institution, or I'm this, that gets signed up. There's going to be a process, and yeah, there's a process to all those. So there's going to be a data entry. There's it's a noise at the background. Okay, it has stopped. So data entry form that makes it easy to use and accurate, provide proper onboarding, like I mentioned earlier, proper onboarding to medical practitioners, and on how to use it. Okay, so I'm going to run to, okay, this is users should be able to see which health facilities have permissions and access to their data. Like I said, data privacy is really key on this project. Okay, so every user will be able to tell, okay, this hospital A and hospital Z still has access to my data, and they can choose to, revoke the access to their data from these hospitals. Yeah, so they should be able to make audit log available. Yeah, users will be able to have audit log. Can tell, oh, I visited hospital A in January 2018, and I also went to hospital Z um, December 25th, 2020, things like that. So yeah, like I said, allow users to revoke access to their data at any time. Onboarding process for healthcare facilities. So healthcare facilities and institutions are going to be onboarded. Okay, so we are going to make it quite easy for all the professionals that are going to be using the platform. There's going to be we'll be implementing an onboarding process that will make it easy for anyone that's getting to use the platform for the first time to know what to do, and all that. I remember Mr. Mark talking about is a backend admin, a backend office or something like that.
Yeah, the platform admin. So before you continue, I wanted to also speak to. I think there was a day Bob actually brought up that question around, how would people actually remember like their ID, right? Imagine someone who is, let's say, 50 years old or 40 years old, right? How would they always try to remember their ID? And then I remember we agreed on something. We agreed on
Phone
using
number.
a phone number. Yeah, we agreed on using phone number, which I think makes perfect sense, right? So you can just put in your number, give the recept. Was it called front desk? I think front desk. Yeah, give
Yes,
them,
phone number.
the phone number, and when they key in your phone number, they are able to, get they're able to retrieve your profile. Then they can request, for permission, and then via your own end, you just approve. Or you can also use the option of, say, they request for permission, you get a code right as the user on your phone, and then you give them that code, and then they key in that code to get access. You can choose to revoke that access after some time, maybe when you're done with your business there, okay, or your visit there, okay. So go on, Linda.
Okay. So yeah. So there's going to be proper onboarding for medical facilities, medical professionals, and all. Then okay, yeah, I'm trying to be fast so that okay, so users can create, like I think I've mentioned that users can create profile, enter data records, and edit and all that. Let me run. Okay, so I shared this before. I think I ran this through with us before. Okay. Um, Pardon me. This I don't know if Mr. Mav will have to do this. I think this is a more technical place. I don't know. Please, Mr. Mav, I beg, help me with this. This I think
Oh,
this
okay. Okay. So yeah, this basically has to do with the I think let's say determining where collected users data gets hosted. So this has to do with the data hosting. Of course, I remember we also discussed about that data hosting and the data management. There are regulations, there are regulations that we have to basically adhere to, right? Before you host medical records at scale. Of course, there are regulations you have to adhere to. Okay, so the thing is, it's going to be like in a centralized DB, right? The only thing there is we just have to make sure that the database is highly performant in terms of the queries, right? Just to make sure. I mean, we're looking at a medical environment, right? So it has to be very fast when it comes to saving data, retrieving data. It has to be super super fast. Yeah, so we had that engagement, we had that conversation. Um, so long we are aligned with the regulations, I don't think we would have any problem with hosting that data. Yes, the data will be hosted in the cloud, and long term, I believe we can also have features where um, we can simply extend that database even down to on-prem. I think it depends on the requirement at that point. When you have like a very large set of data, it depends on what requirements will be needed when we get there, right? But definitely, the data will be hosted on cloud platforms like AWS or maybe Microsoft Azure, or even Google Cloud, right? So you can simply host the database and have the application connect to that database. I have an architecture. I have an architecture I would have loved to share, but time is actually running pretty fast. So let's see. Let's have Nina, move on to the other sessions first. If you look at that document, there's something called RBAC. That is, role-based access control. So basically, we have been discussing permission, because it's a huge part of the project, right? That's the main focus, right? We have to make sure that patient's record is not littered everywhere. So there should be a very good way to manage that record. I remember someone asking, are we giving them the ability to search and download records? And I said no. I said no because you don't want. I mean, I don't see the need for the permission and the consent management if you give people the ability to just export the data and download the data maybe as a PDF or CSV. So that is those are some of the things that we have to avoid, and it will only be required, or it will only be a feature that comes into specific use cases that are probably not directly connected to the user's record. Okay. Yeah. So that is it. So please let's move on. Nena, is there any other session, or is that all?
Oh yeah, no.
Um,
We should move over to the Fig Jam brainstorming session where we talked about the screens we'll be working on for the designers. I think we should stop there for now, and maybe have if time permits, would look at the architecture that we will be working with. Mav, I think would hand that over to you to handle. So let's move over to the Fig Jam.
can you see my screen? I just shared the feature screen. Can I see that?
Oh, we could see that.
You can, right? Okay.
Yeah, we could see that. Go ahead.
Okay.
So just give us a bit of an idea of what we are seeing, and just run through it as quickly as you can so that.
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, we have three users: the patient, medical personnel, and the medical institution. So it's all broken down here. So like there's no time. So this is the sign up screen. Can you see it clearly, or should I still zoom in? Right.
You could zoom in a little, yeah. That should be.
Okay. So yeah, for patients, there's going to be a sign up screen. Patients should be able to do a simple sign up on the screen, and it includes full name, email. So there's yeah, when they make this when they interface with this screen, there should be a verification process where the patients have been verified and all. Provide update screen. Okay, so patients will be able to update, information, our personal information or data gets to change, maybe address, contact info, next of kin, emergency contact, and all that. That we are going to have a screen where users, patients can update that information on the go. Then, yeah, because this is going to our project is quite data sensitive. Patients can log out and log in. So we are going to create that and make it easy for them. You can log out. In fact, I believe it should even have a timed session. It's just the way banking apps do. When you are out of that particular app for some time, it automatically logs you off. I believe it's going to further help, add to the layer of security, data protection for users. So yeah, this is going to be a patient's dashboard screen. This screen should provide patients with permission features, where they can grant permissions to either help providers or the institutions, or revoke same. Okay, at this screen, so they should be able to search for medical institutions. So I go to this hospital, I can search out the name of that institution using from this particular place, and proceed to give them permission or grant them permission or not. Then yeah, there should also be a screen for medical history, past medical illnesses, current medical condition, medications taken, and stuff like that would also be captured on the patient's dashboard. Then yeah, there's also going to be of course of onboarding screen, because we are going to make the user journey um, simple and easy as much as possible. Okay, so this like kind of medical records that we are talking about, information about past history, family history, and all that, records of diagnosis and all that. So yeah, I'm going to go straight to medical personnel. Yeah, everything that applies to users applies for these ones as well. That's the medical professionals, but with a little more. Okay, so they should be able to sign up as patients first. Okay, then
Okay.
yeah, they should sign up as patients first before. Please, you want to go? You want to say something, Bob?
Oh, no, no, go ahead. I'm
Yeah, so
just
they have to sign up first as patients, then there's going to be a little more information that will be required of them if they must, you know, attend to patients on the platform as professionals. So yeah, their licenses are going to be, verified, their current place of work, how many years of experience, their field of expertise, and stuff like that. Then of course they will not just give us data and we'll say, okay, thank you for giving us information. You can now start practicing. No, there's going to be a verification process for them. Yeah, so there's going to be a verification process. So they should be able to log into, although medical practitioners and users too, they have to be signed in as professionals to carry out their individual roles. So professional dashboards. So from this dashboard, they are able to request, a medical professional can also search out a patient's name to, okay, request, okay, either request. So it's a two-way thing. So they should be able to accept and also decline any patient's request to attend to them. So if Dr. A feels, oh, I cannot take on this patient, so the patient sends a request, he has the right not to accept, and decline that request to attend to that particular patient. So be able to request or be added under an organization so that they can administer to patients. Then history of patients attended to. Yeah, so on the professionals dashboard, you should be able to see a list of all the patients they've attended to. We should have a history of the ailments they've delved into, they've treated, and a lot, as much information as possible that borders on their patients. Yeah. Then they should be able to update their qualifications and licenses as well. Yeah, of course, onboarding is key to make it easy. The process for the professionals. Okay, so yeah, vitals. So I think this is just a basic rundown of the key medical things. All those while we've been talking about administration, but the key thing is to be able to capture um, medical information about patients. So this where we get to break them down, categorize them according to how they should be. For instance, your vitals, when you get to the nurse station, they take your vitals and check your overall wellness and all that. I don't want to waste our time and bore. So yeah, this is the data capture screen where the information of the patient is captured and saved. So medical institutions too. So a medical institution must fulfill certain criteria to be allowed to use the Ameyo platform. Licenses, government approvals. There must be physical. We are not doing virtual hospital. There must be a physical location where patient can also say, okay, I want to go look up this hospital. What are they up to? So we're not doing virtual verification. There must be a location, years of how many years the institution has operated for, workforce, basic information that one should have about an institution of this nature. Yeah, from verification to activation, so there should be login and all that. So yeah, then there should be an institution's dashboard. This is where they get to accept the professionals that work with them, the people that get to attend to the patients with their permission under their organization. So this is where they get to accept that. They should be able to accept or revoke access to patients too, be able to search for patients on their database as an institution, then see all the history of patients that they've attended to. Yeah. So yeah, this is basically a run through of some basic screens that should be on our MVP. I don't know if we have any
Right,
questions or
all right. That's nice. Thank you for being very quick and concise with everything you did. Time is a factor, obviously. So, Mav, what do you think? This is obviously an MVP. This is basically what we are working on first. Over time, there are updates that would come to it. There are changes that would be incorporated. There are, a lot of stuff. But from what you see so far, what do you feel? What are your thoughts on them, Mav?
Yeah, Bob. So I mean, it makes I can hear you, Bob. It makes perfect sense. Having that as the MVP makes perfect sense, especially since we're focusing on the consent management, right? I think that's the single most important thing that feels new and feels interesting, right? In terms of how hospitals are able to access those records, in terms of how these records can be assessed and managed across board. So it makes perfect sense because eventually we can choose to add other features. I mean, features should not be a problem, right? Adding new features either as plugins or simply building it into the solution should not be a big of a deal. Now that we have the major functionality fleshed out here, I think we can proceed to development.
Yes, sir. So let's see if we have some time here. Let's see if we could do a quick run through on the architecture.
Are you
Do
sure
you have it
are you sure we
available?
have some time? Yeah, I mean, are you sure we have some time for that? Let's see what we can actually show here. I will just
Let's
walk through. The initial idea was to actually work on the architecture on the call with everyone, right? But I will just walk through. I would say
yeah,
the yeah
so
the wireframes.
yeah,
When I mean
I could
wireframe,
hear
I'm
the
talking about the
overview.
architecture without much detail, right? Can you hear me,
Yes, yes.
Bob?
I could hear you. As a way of like an overview, let's just touch on it. Our next major session with the Ameyo on the project Ameyo would go into more details, as we go forward.
Okay, that's fine. So this is what it looks like, right? Um, I would just make it very brief. So basically, we have the user, which can actually be the patient as well, right? We have the facility admin, we have the medical practitioner, we have the platform admin. So they all come in through the UI service, right? Which is the front end, not specifically a single front end, right? So for example, the facility admin and the medical practitioner can be using the same UI, right? The user can be using a different UI service, and the platform admin, of course, will be using a different UI service. But just to capture, the flow, right? Because at the end of the day, they all have to access, the API services or the backend. This is basically the backend, right? So you see, we have multiple backends here because we are load balancing, the backend services. You see, we have the load balancer. So basically, the UI service would go through a gateway and we perform things like authorization. So we have an authorizer service. If we're looking at using like AWS services, then we're looking at having API gateway and something like Cognito user pool. If we're looking at leveraging Microsoft technologies, then of course this would be APIM, right? API management using something like the AD authorizer. So, but yeah, I mean, we can even build bespoke we can build custom services. So you have the UI going through the gateway. Gateway can do things like authorization, request login, and a bunch of other things, right? And then you have that API gateway communicate with one of these hosted backend services, right? They are all the same instances. The idea is when I say container, I'm just referring to to the fact that we can use something like Kubernetes, right, to manage multiple running instances. Okay, we can use maybe AWS services or some other container management services, right, on Microsoft or any other cloud. This is basically going to be hosted in the cloud, right? But of course, it can also be actualized on-prem, right? And you have each of those services communicating with a database, right, for storing of data from the database. It can be multiple instances where you have maybe like a read replica and a write replica, right? And then you have we have the object storage, for storing things like images, okay? And we also have a centralized login system. So ideally, this architecture you're saying should be extended, which is why I wanted us to do most of the extensions on this call. But of course, we can't do that now because
No
when it comes to
problem.
centralized login, we wanted to capture a bunch of things that can lead to analytics and a couple of other things that has to do with distributed logging, leveraging Kafka and a bunch of other tools. But yeah, we can't do that right now. But this has to be extended, to accommodate
Oh,
so many
definitely,
use cases.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. So this makes sense. This is just to give us like an overview that this is an actual product that we're working on. This is something that is solving an actual problem. And yes, it's an open source community, means that anyone is welcome to join us, provided you're ready to work, provided you are ready to truly contribute. So once again, this is a Techies Garage open source internship. It's a place where we choose to tackle on situations or problems that are directly around us, and bring solutions to them from an open source perspective. uh, we want it to both benefit us as skilled professionals to build on our skills and also solve actual problems in the society. You're welcome to join us at any time. You could visit us on our website, techisgarage.org, and we have a Discord server. Mav, can you help us? Oh, okay. More details will be given on that during the course of time. Let me know. Bring a drawback here. Any final thoughts, Mav? Any final thoughts, Nina?
Yeah, I mean, from my end, I would
Um,
say, okay, go ahead, Minna. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say nothing much. Nothing much.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So from my end, I would actually say, join us on the server, on the Discord server. We actually have other projects in the pipeline. We plan to build amazing products, amazing projects, right? Open source, of course. For the community. So feel free to jump on these projects with us and even bring in your ideas, right? We're always accepting. We're always available to listen to some of those ideas, right? And of course, work with those ideas. Okay. So if you have ideas, that you believe would make the project even better, go ahead and share with us, and we'll definitely work on them. Okay. So yeah, that's all from me, Bob.
All right, thank you. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Twitter. We are just our handle is at Techies Garage. Easy to find. Yeah, and in case you have an interest, I think we still have a few slots on the Team Ameyo for the project Ameyo ongoing right now. From what you see, the MVP is ready, and implementation on the designs are beginning from the coming week. So if you are a designer and you're interested to be a part of it, Nena is our design lead.
Okay. Did we
Uh,
did we lose Bob, or did I lose Bob? Okay, so sometimes this network.
Hello.
You can hear Bob?
Yes, I could
I
hear
can
him
hear.
otherwise.
Oh, okay. So that was from my end. Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead, Bob.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I said if you're a designer, we are going into the implementation of the design phase, and you are interested in being a part of this. Feel free to join us at any time. The project is currently ongoing as it stands, and we are ready to continue to receive your help at any time. Thank you very much, and have a lovely evening.
All right, thank you. Bye, guys. Have a
Good night,
wonderful evening.
everyone.
Yeah, good night.